playing around in makeup, and I decided, you know what, let me film this, because now I officially believe that I should title my channel The Shenanigans of Shani, because y'all, yesterday was a day. Before I go into it, I've already used my Tatcha Silk Canvas, Liquid Silk Canvas, as a primer. I went in with my NARS Naturally Radiant in the shade New Caledonia. I just tapped on some of the Under Eye Brightening Corrector from Becca and Smashbox, and I am going to do the rest of my face now. Now for eyes, that's probably what I'm going to do the most of. Let me show you what I have. So I actually now have 4 of the Adept Cosmetics palettes. I have the Plain Jane Remastered. I have Amunette. Rosé just popped up there. She know we gonna be talking about her. I have the Heather Austin palette, and I have Ninhydrin, which I just got this one, and I think they like repackaged it. So even though I just got this one, I'm not going to use it right now. I did use it the other day, but for the other 3, the Amunette, Heather Austin, and Plain Jane, what I did was I switched all of the shades around to kind of create my own palettes. So in the Amunette packaging, we have these shades. These are like the multi-chromes and kind of crystal-y colors, and then we've got some blue over here. So that is one of them. In the Plain Jane Remastered packaging, I've got a lot of these like pinky, orangey, purpley kind of duochromes. And then in the Heather Austin palette packaging, I have these more like grungy and like fall tones, I think. So this is the one I'm going to use today just to do a bit of a look. Like I said, I tapped in some of that brightening corrector, and I'm gonna just go ahead and like tell you the story. Now, if you saw my Instagram post yesterday, my story, then you saw this, but I just need to repeat it for the 1000th time. So I'm minding my business yesterday. Usually Fridays are kind of busy. I start pretty early in the morning. First, I start with like a peer consultation sort of supervision thing where it's me and like 5 other psychologists, and we just like get together and we provide feedback for one another. We case consult, all that jazz. So that's usually like an hour. Now, right after that, right at the next hour, I provide clinical supervision to one of my trainees, one of my beginning therapists. So I do that for an hour, and then right on the next hour, that's when I start seeing clients, and it's usually back to back to back throughout the day, you know, and then I'm also in between answering emails, doing whatever little tasks I can do. So it's pretty packed, pretty busy. I just put on the Dose of Colors concealer in the shade 25. I noticed with this concealer, like I like it, but it kind of separates. It doesn't seem to hamper the concealer itself, but yeah, there's that. Okay, so everything's going well, right? And then we get to the hour for supervision. Now, I had gotten dressed and everything, so I get up and get dressed for work even if I'm not going into my office. That just helps me to continue to have a bit of that space between work and home. So yesterday I decided to wear this little dress. And when I say little dress, I mean it is a little dress because it doesn't cover, it's almost like a long t-shirt. Like it's not one that I would actually wear outside to work. It's one where I'm like, oh boo, you coming over, let me look cute in this little itty bitty dress, right? But the top is fine. It's just like a regular old, like a t-shirt dress. But I knew I'm gonna be sitting down all day, so nobody's gonna see the bottom half. They're just gonna see like from here up, right? Okay. So I go downstairs, and you know, my co-therapist, Rosé, joins me. Now, typically, she will either lay out on the little bay window, kind of like getting some sun or smelling the fresh air, or she'll be on this little like ottoman, or she also has her own little chair with like 2, 3, 4 blankets, real comfy. So she has a lot of different spots. She used to, when I first started working from home, when the panini started, she used to like be on the back of the chair, on the side of the chair, whatever, but I've gotten her out of that, right? Sometimes she still try to pop up there. Now, yesterday, it was a nice kind of cooler day, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna open the window a little bit just to get some air. I don't know if that's a Caribbean thing, but I feel like we're always like, let's get some air, let's get some fresh air, let's get some breeze in the house, right? So I opened the window, and this is where my gut was already telling me something, but I wasn't listening. I noticed that I opened the window a little bit more than usual. So let's say I would open it this much. This time I opened it like this much. And there's a screen on the window. So even when you open it, there's still a screen that separates you from the outside. So I'm minding my business. I'm providing supervision. You know, I'm taking notes. I'm like, yeah, for this client AB, I think it could be helpful for you to explore with this person. What kind of motivates them to do such and such and such and such and blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, if we think about it from the blobbity blobbity theory, then, there we go, right? So I'm supervising. And Rosé is just like wanting to be held. So I'm trying to like push her off from like off my foot. She's not having it. So finally she's like trying to climb up my legs, and I have on a dress, right? So I'm like, ouch, you got claws, girl. So finally I just pick her up, and I'm just like, I put her on my lap, and I'm still going. And I'm like, now for client CD, let me know what you're thinking about that one. How are you conceptualizing their concerns? All of a sudden, Rosé like sort of pops up at attention, and she looks out the window. Now let's set the scene, okay? So you're the video. You're the supervisee looking at me virtually. I'm looking at you virtually. Rosé is right here on my lap, so you can see her little head, okay? And the window is like right here. Let's say right where the mirror is, right where that mirror is. The window's right there. She sort of like stands at attention, and then she bolts. She Usain bolts right out the window. Now I told you there was a screen on there, right? I told you there was a screen. She like bashed through the window. She like Sugar Ray Leonard her way through it, right? And just takes off like she's a tiger in the jungle or some kind of jaguar. So my supervisee, mouth hanging open, she's like, did Rosé just run through the window? I didn't even have a moment to really think. I had my AirPods on, and I like took them off. I threw them down at the computer, and I get up and I run out the door, because the door is like, it's like right there, right? So everything's kind of close where I'm in a little space in the living room. So I run out the door, and I'm like, what? Because pause the story, okay? Remember, we have talked about how Rosé don't like going outside. It's been like 2.5, 3 years, and she barely steps a paw outside. And I was really excited because remember the other day she came outside with me, but she stayed like real close to the step, the stoop, and everything. Honey, I don't know what like Green Mile energy got into her yesterday, but when I tell you this cat just like booked it, road runnered out the window. She busted through the screen. Spitting all. She busted through the screen, y'all. When I tell you, you know those parents And those people who are like, my child, my friend, my partner, whatever, would never do that. That was me. That was me with like, Rosé would never go out there. Like, if I would like go outside, or my partner would always be like, close the door, Rosé's gonna run out. I'm like, she's not gonna run outside. She don't even go outside. Child, now I'm like, do I need to put the burglar bars on the window? So, where's the powder? Whew. Okay, I'm taking my Laura Mercier powder. So I run outside. We unpause. We playing again. We back to the story. I don't see her. I don't see her. I don't know what she has saw. I don't know what she saw that made her run, like if somebody was chasing her. I don't know. I think it was either a squirrel or another cat. I think it must have been another cat or something, because she sees squirrels all the time. Whatever it was, I don't know if it was Jesus in the chariot coming down to save the world. I don't know what it was, but Rosé was running like her life depended on it. So some of this I'm taking from memory. The other part of it I'm taking from my doorbell camera. So in the doorbell camera, you see me run outside, ass hanging out the dress, the little tiny dress that come to barely my you know, the bottom of my cooch. I'm running, no shoes on, and I like run. So there are like some stairs, and then you walk, and then there are some more stairs. So I run to that second set of stairs, and I'm like, where is she? So then I turn around for some reason, and I run back towards the house. I don't know if I was like, oh, let me put on some shoes, or you see me like holding the dress down and like all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if I was thinking, let me like put some different clothes on real quick. I don't know what I was thinking. But I start like running back, and then I'm like, what? And then I turn around and I go back. You following? Okay, so I came out the house, I ran to the stairs, I turned around, was running back to the house, I turned around again and ran back to the stairs. And all you hear me say is, where the hell is she? And then I just start screaming, Rosé! Rosé, where are you? And you hear the adrenaline and the anxiety and the fear and shock all in my voice. So, whew, girl, so then, look, so this is the view, this is the camera, right, on the doorbell. Then you just see me running. Trying to find this cat. And so finally, I'm just still screaming like, Rosé, Rosé. I don't see her. I saw another cat. Didn't look like Rosé at all. And this cat just chilling. This cat is minding its business. So I'm like, oh, is Rosé with the cat? Nah, that cat doing their own business. They're like, why are you two acting a fool? Whew, Lord Jesus. Girl, I haven't even started on my eyes. I forgot about them. Okay, so let me get... I'm gonna go in with this glitter primer thing from NYX. I'm gonna use some of the multi-chromes. Okay, so I'm like, Rosé, Rosé, where the hell are you? Rosé! You know, I'm screaming. It's morning, so I know people trying to get their kids ready for school, and they trying to get ready for work. It's early in the morning, and you have some random lady, big old boobs, booty hanging out her dress, running down the road screaming Rosé. Y'all, I was feeling so many different emotions. So finally, I hear her, like she's crying, like the real cry, the like, oh my God, I done messed up, I done effed up, right? And girl, why did I say, okay, where I said I was gonna use, I'm all discombobulated. So let me go ahead and grab a shade. I'm actually going to take my magnet so I can pop this shade out and tell you from which palette it comes. So it looks like this is from the Plain Jane Remastered palette. This is ACI 2. Okay, so I finally hear her and she's crying, like the real the real, like, I'm terrified, like, where am I? How did I end up out here? What's happening? Where's my human? You know, like the, like that kind of crying, you know. And I'm like, where are you? Like, I hear you, but I can't see you. Like, I'm expecting her to answer. And she's just howling, hollering, you know, over and over and over again. So then I'm like looking up in the trees, and I remember I had read something somewhere where it was like cats can climb up trees, but they have a harder time climbing down. So I'm like, ain't no way I can shimmy my ass up this entire tree. Like, the trees over here is big, okay? They are big trees. So then I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to call like the fire department if she up in the tree, but I can't see her. I can't see her, because even before all this, I feel like Rosé be blending into stuff. I don't know, it's because she's like a neutral color. I swear, I'll be looking around and I don't see her, and then something move and I'm like, oh, that's her. So she a real neutral color. So then I'm like on people's porches, and I'm like looking, because I'm like, I'm in the vicinity, but I don't know where she is, because it feels like her voice is bouncing off of things. Like, it's echoing, and it's probably because I have the blood rushing to the, you know, to the tops of my head and in my ears and everything. Child. So then I see her, and she is like crouched in this like flower pot bush thing behind a bucket on like somebody's property. I'm shaking just remembering it from the adrenaline. And so I'm like, okay, thank God, there she is. But, you know, I'm worrying because Rosé don't like to be picked up. So I'm like, how am I gonna get her all the way back home? Because we not at my house, okay? We are we're a little ways away, okay? So she's still howling and hollering. Like, you know when you're crying and it's like that hysterical, like, can't nobody even get through to you kind of cry? That's what it was. And I'm like, Rosé. I was like, I'm right here. It's me. And I'm like, smell my hand. Like, it's me. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, Rosé. And then I, you know, I'm trying to calm myself down. I'm doing like the calm, like, hi, it's okay. Hi, Vivi. You know, to like get her to get it together. So she finally stops crying, and then she kind of like steps towards me, and I just grab her and I hold on, because I'm like, listen, you Flojo out of here again. I don't know that I'm gonna be chasing you. Like, you're gonna be for the streets, girl, okay? So I'm holding her. I have her sort of just like bundled, clutched in my arms like a ball. Like, her feet, everything is like together. Because I'm like, I can't, like, we can't be doing this. Mind you, as all of this is happening, my supervisee is still on video waiting for me to come back and supervise. So I get back to the house, right? I'm shaking, she's shaking. We get inside, she like jumps out of my hands, and of course she scratches me in the process, so I'm bleeding now. Okay, so I'm bleeding, door's open, and then I realize, oh snap, remember she had busted through the screen, so I need to like get the screen back on the window, because I'm not gonna be sitting here with a screenless window, right? So then I go outside. The screen is just laid up on the ground. Just like right under the window. So it takes me a couple minutes to like put the screen back in, and I'm screaming, scream. I'm screaming to my supervisee on the virtual thing, girl, I'm coming. Like, don't worry, I'm coming. Just give me a second. And she can see all of this happening. Like, she didn't see me when I grabbed Rosé, but she saw it as I was coming back, you know. So I'm going to take this shade, which is Video Chat, and this is from the Heather Austin palette. Whew. Seems like they're very similar. This has a bit more of a duochrome to it. So I get back inside and, you know, try to return to supervision. Rosé just sitting there looking at me like, who did it what for and don't do it no more. She looking at me like I'm boo-boo the fool when she the one who done jumped out the window. She done tried to escape, okay? She might as well have had a spoon with her and just dug her way out. So I'm trying to sort of like get back into the groove of supervising. And then I was just like, you know what, honey, my arm is bleeding. I was like, I'm gonna just have to end this supervision a little early today. Like, good job. Keep up the good work. I'm gonna sign your notes later. Like, do what we said to do with them clients. So I got off. And so I'm at this point, like, my anxiety is still high. My adrenaline is still high. Like, the blood is just pumping through my veins, right? So now I'm like, I have to tell someone. And so I tried calling all my family. Now, the other thing is, it's early in the morning here, so it's even earlier. It's in the wee hours in the morning there, right? So, but I'm like, they know I'm not going to be calling early like this for no reason. Don't nobody answer. One sister don't answer. The other sister don't answer. My mom doesn't answer. My dad doesn't answer. My brother doesn't answer. So finally I call my niece and she's like, hello. And you know, people in their 20s, they sleep until like 2. I mean, she works, but you know what I'm saying. And so I'm like, girl, listen to what just happened. So I'm telling her the story and she is like, oh my God. And she is the second person. First was my supervisee. The second person who was like crying, laughing, because I was just so animated and so amped up and I'm telling the story and all this stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta go. So then I called my mom. I called my mom so I could blame her because my mom has been the one that is always like, oh, you should try to get your girl outside. Like, because my mom is used to having animals, pets that like are outside. And I was like, mommy, it's your fault. Let me tell you what happened. All the while now, Rosé is just laying out in the sun on like little bay window shelf, getting some sun, napping. Like she didn't have my heart come up through my esophagus and almost out my mouth. Whew. Y'all, that's not even it. So after I talked to my mom, I like came upstairs to like clean my wound and put some, whatever ointment it is that I put on there. Did that. And then I have to go finish the rest of my day. I have to see the rest of these clients. So of course I start every session with, girl, let me tell you what happened. So literally hour after hour, I'm telling the story. All my clients are hysterically laughing. Of course, everyone's like, is Rosé okay? Ain't nobody asked me if I was okay, but all right, whatever. Is Rosé okay? Yeah, she's fine, okay? She's sitting right here taking a nap. Whew. What's this one? Okay. So this is Atlas from the Heather Austin palette and Emotep from the Amonette palette. So I'm going to use both of those just to give some matte depth to the eyes. What do we want to do here? Let's use Emotep. Okay, so my day is going, you know, I'm therapizing people. I'm like trying to like keep myself calm. I'm like side-eyeing Rosé. She's side-eyeing me. It's fine, whatever. She tried to climb back up to the window, and now I'm like, you never gonna smell fresh air again because the window is now closed. Now we all gotta suffer. Because you know them kids that used to get the whole class in trouble, like now none of us are gonna get to have like the Friday movie day because Johnny over there done caused some mess. That's Rosé. Rosé is the one that get all the class, the entire student body in trouble. So now we ain't gonna get no fresh air, right? And so I'm stressed and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to order something to eat. I had breakfast, but the day is going, usually like the days are just going by so fast. If I can, I'll try to like get in some lunch, but I knew that I just wasn't going to have time today, so I was just going to have like an early, like late lunch, early dinner kind of thing. So I ordered my food. Now, I ordered from this restaurant where they, like, I guess contract out to the third party delivery services. So they use DoorDash. Now, I've previously had a problem with DoorDash where the person stole my food from the same restaurant. Person stole my food. It was a different driver because, you know, you can see the name or whatever. Up and stole my food. And so I was real upset. And I ordered the food and I see the person pull up, the delivery person, but I'm still writing my notes, you know, because I want to get everything done so I can just chill and relax and not have to worry about, because you have to write clinical notes on every clinical thing that you do. So I see the person, because again, I'm still by the window, so I can see the person out the window, and I keep looking like, you know, I'm wondering if they're going to come and put my food at the doorstep, because I usually say, just leave it at the door, because I also have a hanging tag that's like, do not disturb, session in progress or whatever, because a lot of times people will be knocking and ringing the doorbell and I'm trying to therapize people, you know, like if the timing is off in terms of when they deliver or whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to just drop it off because it says in the instructions, even though literally DoorDash is the one place where whenever I have those instructions, they don't care. They don't pay attention. They're like, we're going to deliver this when we want to. So I'm like, okay. Okay, so here are some mats. There's PaO2 from the Heather Austin palette, and then there is Set from the Amunet palette. So I'm gonna play around with these. Okay, so I see the person sitting outside and I'm thinking, like, they haven't called or text messaged or anything, because sometimes if they can't find the house or whatever, they're like, you know, or if they leave the food, they'll call or text and be like, hey, so I left the food there or whatever, you know, and they have to take a picture and everything. Now, I'm not getting any message from this person, so I'm like, okay, so they must be fine, you know. And then the next thing I know, like, I turn around and, because I continue doing my work, I turn around and the person is gone. So I'm like, oh, okay, they must have left my food at the door. So I open the door. There ain't no food. So I'm thinking, you know, sometimes people deliver it to the wrong house. I look at the neighbor here. I look at the neighbor there. I look at the neighbor across there. I don't see nothing. I don't see no big white bag with my food in it. So I try messaging the person. And it says this number can no longer be used. So I'm starting to get like this. So I'm like, okay, where my food at? Because it says delivered. And it's not delivered because I don't have it. I'm not eating it. I don't know where the food at. It's not at my house. So I called the restaurant and I'm like, so the person who delivered my food just stole it. Like I've looked at every neighbor's house. It's not here. And I saw that they sat right in front of my house for several minutes, and then they just drove off with my food. Because I had been looking. I saw it. It's a big old white car. I see you, girl. Francine. So like, I see you, girl. It's a big old white car. I see that you sitting out there. She didn't even get out the car. She didn't get out the car. So you didn't even attempt to deliver my food. So the restaurant is like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. We'll try to contact DoorDash and we'll like remake the food, and are you okay coming to get it? And, you know, do you want like a free dessert or soda or anything? And I'm like, nah, like I kind of do, but like I just want my food because like now I'm hungry. And so I end up having to go to the restaurant. which is fine. It was fine. I could do it. I was okay with it. But the thing is, it wasn't within, I had planned everything, at least I thought, right? So on my way to the restaurant, I'm communicating with DoorDash, and I'm like, I just want you to know that your Dasher stole my food and I can't get in contact with them. And it's also hard to get to DoorDash customer service because, you know, everybody's using like the automated systems now, and no matter how much you push zero or scream customer service, like, you can't get through. So finally I messaged them and I give them the whole deal. I also messaged them on their social media and I sent them a picture of the receipt and everything. So they tell me that they contacted the Dasher, and the Dasher said that she couldn't find the house, so she left the food by some white brick. And so my response to the customer service person, I know it wasn't her fault, but I was like, first of all, there's no white brick over here. There's no white brick. Second of all, she sat in her car and did not even get out of the car to try to deliver the food. Third of all, I have her on camera. That's what she probably don't know. I have you on camera, girl. The camera sees it all. The camera sees you sitting in your white car. It's a sedan, sitting in your car. You don't even open the door. You barely paused. And you didn't get out the car to try to deliver the food. You have the food. You sitting there eating my food. And the thing that upsets me about it is that I just hate when people steal stuff, and I hate when people lie. Because if she had been like, ma'am, you know what, I'm like real hungry, can I just have like a bite or something, I would have given her the food. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would have given you the food. And I had included I always include above and beyond for tips, because I'm like, thank you so much for driving, for putting miles on your car, for using up gas to bring me my food. Thank you so much. But I was like, I know you did not just lie and say that you left you didn't leave the food, and you didn't leave it at least in a 1 mile radius, because that's where I checked. Ain't nobody got my food, okay? So that pissed me off. So the day started with me raising my blood pressure trying to find this cat, and the day ended with me raising my blood pressure trying to deal with DoorDash. I have not, with any of the other delivery services, I have not had problems like that. It's always DoorDash. I hate whenever I see like a third party, like a restaurant is using a third party service. I hate when it's DoorDash. First of all, they do not listen. It always says on their leave at the door. They always ring my doorbell several times and then knock on the door, even though it says do not disturb in session with patient. It says it on there. There's a literal sign, but they don't care. DoorDash don't be caring. I don't know. Every single time. Every time. I'm like, I don't get it. So why you ask me for instructions on stuff if you're not gonna read it? Stop ringing my doorbell. If I don't answer it the first time, leave the food at the door, send me the picture, and go. Y'all, it was just, yesterday was too much. And then like today I was like, let me just go get boosted and vaxxed and all that stuff, and I'm gonna like tell everybody the story, and then I'm gonna just like go to sleep, because it was a day and a half. It was like the most Monday of Fridays I've ever experienced. You know, this feels like it should have happened on a Monday. It should not have happened on a Friday, is what I'm saying. Child, let me go ahead and finish up the rest of this, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna tell you bye or something, okay? I'm gonna be right back. Okay, so before I tell you about the finishing touches that I put on, you might be wondering like, well, girl, if you wanted that food, why didn't you go get it yourself? And that's a valid argument. That's a valid criticism. I mean, first of all, the first reason is because I wanted to order it and have it delivered. The second reason is like from February to like June, I was on strict orders to not drive by a neurologist from Johns Hopkins. He was like, I will report you to the DMV. So I was unable to really drive, especially like distances. Like, I would drive like to the mailbox or something, to like the FedEx box or whatever, but I wasn't able to commute or anything. So like, I'm still trying to avoid like unnecessary driving, and I feel like, listen, this is a convenience. I'm paying for the convenience, and I'm okay with doing a really good tip in order to show my appreciation for someone doing a task for me that maybe I just can't do myself, or just don't want to. But it all ended well. I got my food. I like had some water. I like took a shower, chilled, hung out with Rosé, you know, the usual. Anyways, I finished everything off with the Velvet Morning Lipstick from Lisa Eldridge and paired it with the LA Girl Vamp lip liner. Then I went in with some mascara, and I used some face powders from Lethal Cosmetics for my blush and bronzer. If you haven't tried their face products or their face powders, I really do suggest it. Anyway, so this is the finished look. Hopefully you got some inspiration to like change up your palettes to make your own color stories. I hope you're taking care of yourself and your loved ones. I also really hope that you are not opening your window a little bit too much so that your cat busts through the window and runs down the street and you have to chase it with your booty hanging out your little dress. I already did it for you. A 0 out of 10 would recommend. So make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.